Good morning and happy Easter, everyone. This is Lieutenant Dan with the third blog in the series, playing the trump card as America's Civil War continues. Sorry about a little bit of the noise in the background, but it's such a beautiful day sitting up here on the flybridge. And for those who may not have done this yet, make sure you get out there and grab my most recent book, Playing the Trump Card. And you can find it on my website at www.ask-force.com. Grab it in PDF or EPUB version for your handheld, your pad, or your computer, and read through that if you will. So, last week during the last session, I talked about the four cornerstones, which were founded on the preamble of our Declaration of Independence, that says we hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, that they're endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those four cornerstones, if you look at them, the first one being the Creator, that God created all things, including us, on purpose, for a purpose. Individually, we are all made for a purpose and a plan, and we were called to this time in America. We may have some challenges going on. We may be nearing the fulfillment of what Abraham Lincoln said was our own suicide. It could very well be that Lady Liberty is walking the path to the gallows of her own making, and we individually have our hand on the trap door. But I don't believe so. I believe that God has created this time for us. As a matter of fact, I would say that the trump card that overcame the hilarious cliff that I'd mentioned in the last blog was called for this time as well. So I use the Ask Force as a guide, A.S.K, that stands for Ask, Seek, and Knock. And in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, Jesus said, and I might paraphrase it real quick, would be ask and it'll be given, seek and you'll find, knock and the door will be open to you. Ask, seek, and knock. And that is what works through life. When you ask and you have a vision, that it works. I love the way Christopher Reeve says it. He says, so many of our dreams at first seem impossible. Then they seem improbable. And then when we summon the will, the courage, they soon become inevitable. And he said that not while he was performing as Superman, but after his ended up fatal accident that eventually took his life. But after that, he became the real Superman that I appreciate. Many years before Christ, the prophet Habakkuk, who was with Israel and they were going through times of challenges, God called Habakkuk, or however you want to say his name, for a specific cause. And he says, Habakkuk, listen, I'm going to give you a vision. He says, have a vision, write it down, make it plain, and I will send my heralds before you to make sure that it happens. Don't worry, don't panic that it doesn't happen when you think it should, but wait for it. It will surely come about. It will not be late. Again, that's Habakkuk chapter 2, and we can stand on that principle and promise today. Again, today's Easter. We worship a time right now where Christ rose from the dead, unheard of, and yet prophesied for years, for generations, for thousands of years, that Christ would suffer in our place and then rise again on this beautiful resurrection day we call Easter. So even though we're in the midst of the COVID virus, the e-commerce or the commerce crash that we have going on, and then the potential 2020 elections that are a challenge. Politics is always a threat. One thing we cannot do is allow compassion, the term compassion, a pretend compassion, to give up our control. Remember, we're founded on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And even those that are great and in control of our nation because of their finances, they do not have control. We, the people, are in control. Going back many years, I love what General George Washington said after he was inaugurated president in his first general order. He said, "Let us therefore rely upon the goodness of the cause and the aid of the Supreme Being, in whose hands victory is, to animate and encourage us to a great and noble action. And I would say we are called for that same intent. Today is the day for us, we the people, to be called to action. And I like the thought that let us pursue a great and noble action in every cause that we do. It is our time, it is our nation, it is our world, and we are called to this time to make a difference. So, following the A.S.K force and playing the trump card properly, we the people can make a difference if we fall on our knees, humbly request the presence of providence to take over, and yet at the same time that we stand up like General George Washington, where we put our nation, our families, and even the globe ahead of our own selfish desires. Again, you go back to the top 6 out of 7 billionaires that are basically controlling our nation and the world as we see, including those from other countries. They're not in charge. Providence is in charge, and he's dealt us a trump card to play properly. Let's pray for that trump card. Pray that we play it in the right way at the right time, and that we honor not just one another, but God and Providence and whatever you want to call them, the force. I love the force. That's why I use the A.S.K force in my books. But let us play our hand properly. Let us play nobly. Let us have actions that our children's will remember this time and the noble acts that we did. This is Lieutenant Dan. Thanks for joining me. Out.